Think about this. In the late 18th century, Africans, through no fault of their own, were stolen and kidnapped, not sold, not bought, but stolen and kidnapped from their homelands, from their homes, their families, in order to work through the most demeaning, dehumanizing ways for no reason but for lazy Caucasians, heterosexual and homosexual, racist, savage Caucasians, only through years and years of hard fought and hard won battles for rights, for equality and our own humanity, only to have gays sweep in and steal our rights and claim our rights for themselves. That is a crime against humanity.
Got a lot of people within black society who despise black society. And the white supremacists, they study us. They know who to get and prop up. And look at who they get for Shea Butter Twitter. A lot of people for Shea Butter Twitter, these are people who the white supremacists study. When you look at the background of Shea Butter Twitter, somebody made this great observation one time. They said, in order to be a so-called black activist at one of these corporations, number one, you gotta not grow up around black folks. Number two, you gotta not go to school around black folks. And number three, you have to be told about black folks by white people. And that's how you become a black activist that they will promote. And that's very accurate. That's extremely accurate. Because yesterday, activist Sean King, he's suing one of these Shea Butters for slander. A lot of Shea Butter, they tell lies about a lot of folks. They tell lies about me all the time, so I don't even trip on the shit. And early on, some years back, I was going to sue some of them for some of the lies. But my legal team started looking at people's finances, and I saw how damn broke these folks were. So I'm like, well, damn, that's like squeezing water from a rock. They're so goddamn broke. But then I realized, don't nobody take them seriously anyway. But Sean King, well, he's filing some kind of paperwork to sue one of these Shea Butters. One of them was Clarissa Brooks or some shit like that, and she's one of these black men hating Shea Butters. She lied on me before. And looking into her background, because I was posting some shit on her last night of her growing up around nothing but white people. Every photo of her I found, she's the one Negro friend. She's the one black friend out of all the people. This woman did not grow up around black folks. She grew up as the token Negro. So she claims to be a queer feminist and all that bullshit. So if you look at her timeline, just every other tweet is about cishet black men. Straight black men ain't shit. Straight black men are evil. Straight black men ain't shit. And if you look at Shea Butter Twitter, and remember, these are the people who are propped up by white organizations. They usually work at some white media corporation or some white women's groups are funding them. If you look at them, and I want y'all to go on Twitter and look at some of the Shea Butters, some of the Shea Butter feminists, especially the blue check ones, the ones who got the blue checks. If you look in, you're going to see about three things. When you look at Shea Butter Twitter feminist with the blue checks, you're going to see that they work for a major white corporation, white publications, Ebony, Essence. You're going to see that. You're going to see that they're funded by some white women. Because I always look at how people were raised. When I see these Shea Butter men and women just going in on straight black people, I want to see who raised them. Where did they come from? See, I get into people's backgrounds. And normally, these people are first or second generation immigrants, so they don't really have any type of deep connection to American black society, so it's easier for them to throw us under the bus. Or they were adopted by white people or they grew up in the foster system. And I've learned a lot of that has happened with a lot of these folks. This one little tie-tongue, moist dude named Terrence Williams, I think that's his name. He's one of these coon conservatives. They use him and they prop him up. Yeah, y'all know who he is. He's real stupid looking. If you go to his Twitter page, he's like biting on a piece of chicken. So he's like a real coon. And he's some white organization. Somebody's giving him white talking points. He does this goofy bullshit. And found out he was adopted. This dude was raised by like a white adoptive family. And that's another thing. Whenever you see a lot of people who are adopted by white families, the dudes almost always turn out sexually confused. I've rarely seen a black man adopted by a white family who did not come out sexually confused. That's very rare. The only one I know is Colin Kaepernick.
Why no black person should ever support the homosexual rights movement or black gays in general. Why no black person should ever support gays ever. And this is coming from a self-identifying SGL, same gender-loving individual. Black people should never support the rights of gays, black, Caucasian, or otherwise, except, and I feel, as it pertains to actual hate crimes towards black gay people. And when I say black gay people, I mean non-swirling black gay persons, specifically pro-black black gay persons. White homosexuals and their African descended or black, self-identifying black descended cohorts and minions do not care about black people. The white LGBT movement is variantly anti-black. It is specifically anti-black and specifically anti-black male. It does nothing but perpetuate lies, deceits, deceptions, misinformations, and outright hatred towards black men, specifically those heterosexual black men. The gay rights movement, quote unquote, only exists to stifle any progress in the black community. Gay Caucasians organize incessantly around racist whites and white supremacist bigots in order to demean and deface black people and any black rights organization. Their sole purpose is to stop any black progress from happening. They do not care about black people, and the sole reason why they exist is to spread hatred and distrust among the black population. This is where the gender war comes from mainly these LBGT, LMNOP, alphabet organizations that seek to divide heterosexual black men, black women, and the rest of black society amongst themselves in order to continue incessant infighting that only serves the purpose to further those that have a vested interest in dividing black people in order to excel and in order to further the agendas of those white gay organizations. Those are the only purposes of gay organizations, specifically those white pro-swirling homosexual organizations. Think about this. In the late 18th century, Africans with no fault of their own were stolen and kidnapped, not sold, not bought, but stolen and kidnapped from their homelands, from their homes, their families, in order to work through the most demeaning, dehumanizing ways for no reason but for lazy Caucasians, heterosexual and homosexual, racist, savage Caucasians, only through years and years of hard fought and hard won battles for rights, for equality and our own humanity, only to have gays sweep in and steal our rights and claim our rights for themselves. That is a crime against humanity.
I want you to understand every other group in this country has specifically received tangibles. Everybody. And every other group has received reparations in some form or another specifically. The American dream, like I've always said, and like our brother Claude Anderson broke down, the American dream is basically getting other groups coming over, getting the unearned benefits and resources that were generated by free black labor. Okay? That's the American dream. Everybody is supposed to come over here and step on us and get all the resources and benefits that they can get while having complete vitriol towards us. We're supposed to be on the bottom of the racial pyramid to lift everybody up. We do not have allies. We do not have supporters. As a group, we do not have friends.